From Toronto, PHANTA Media presents the Not So Corporate Podcast.
Hello. Welcome to the Not So Corporate Podcast. I'm your host, Leah Earle, and I'm joined in the studio with Mark Dreger.
Hello.
Yep, that's him. All right, thanks for coming. This week we have a very special episode, and it is really special not just because we don't have a guest, but because we also don't have really any content. Just
Why
kidding.
are you hosting?
Well, I thought that since it is the end of 2015, I would give it a shot. It doesn't look that hard.
That's the thing. You always think that hosting is the easiest thing, so now you got to step up and do it.
Yeah, did you produce this?
No. You just told, I think you're producing and hosting, double duty.
Yeah, that's true.
Excellent.
I'm upping my game. I was thinking, if something happened to you, what would the Not So Corporate Podcast do?
If something happened to me, why would something happen to me?
I don't know. Like, what if you had to go to
Jamaica
Somalia
or something?
Somalia? I don't know what you're up to.
Okay,
anyway,
cool.
So in this episode, we are going to talk a little bit about the holidays and about PHANTA Media and where we see ourselves going in 2016.
You sound so sure of yourself as a host.
It's going to be very interesting.
Awesome.
I used to read the news every Tuesday and Thursday on Rogers TV. I was great. I was like...
So for those who don't know, Rogers TV is like your local access channel, right? Like, so basically like... You know, those local stations that have to do stuff because they're legally obliged to, and they just get people to come on for free. That was you reading the news.
Yes, yeah, and I'd wear like a blazer and like sometimes like a little like dress shirt, and I'd have my hair all done and everything. A few funny stories came out of it, but really only one very notable. I was a bartender at the same time. And we'd go out every night, like Tuesday night.
Naughty Lisa, serving the drinks.
You go out on Tuesday night for drinks with your girlfriends or whatever. And one time I met someone's boyfriend that I hadn't met him before. And I remember he came out the next week with us again. And he goes, yeah, like I met this girl. I was like, she's so crazy. And she's like out of control. The next morning I turned on the news. And there you were reading the news at 7 a.m.
I can't believe that anyone actually turned on that channel.
I know. I was like, did you record it? I've never seen it. And he was like, no.
Yeah, good story.
Yeah, that's it.
You always make fun of me when I'm hosting because you're always like, you talk so much.
Yeah, that's the role of the other person. You're like the color commentary. You're like,
oh, good story, Leah.
Yeah,
good
exactly.
Story. So what makes this episode such a very special episode? So you didn't do it this is a very special episode.
I did. I just don't have your creepy charm nailed. I could try it again.
Yeah, try it again. Sorry. I like the creepy charm. Thank you. Go again. Go.
This week's episode is a very special episode.
Yeah, no, you got to be like, on this week's episode of the Not So Corporate Podcast, you got to talk so fast that you can't even get the words out.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so try it again.
You know what? All right. On this week's episode of the Not So Corporate Podcast, we have a very special episode.
There you go.
It's not just a special episode because of our guest, who's no one.
So I have a question for you. This year, when the year started, you had just had your son.
Yes.
Right, your first son, and you were on what you and Roland have deemed to be called baby vacation.
Yes.
That's maternity leave. That is not a PHANTA Media endorsed term. That is not something that we legally endorse, but that's what you guys have decided to call it yourself as baby vacation.
Yeah.
And then you've been back with us for a few months now.
Yeah, since September.
And so as you can see, I'm now becoming the host again.
That's okay.
But walk through with me what the last few months have been like. Because so when you were coming on the podcast with us and for the first few episodes, and then you were on, like in Hawaii, and then you were like at cottages, and then you were like, with your racehorse and your MBA husband and stuff. But then the last 4 months or 3 months have been like weekly. We've been doing this podcast. So walk me through the difference between like baby vacation Leah producer podcast person and then post.
Right. So I think that when you have your first child, and I think this is a really common experience, and it's different in the States because they only have a few months, right?
Some places only have like 6 weeks.
I know. And I think in the States it might be 6 weeks legally, and then after that most places will give you a bit more, but that's it. So here in Canada we have a full year, which is pretty amazing, but it's also kind of it's hard for women in the workplace because although I am really interested in my work and I really have enjoyed coming back, I was gone for a whole year. So when I was coming in to do podcasts, I kept thinking, I have no idea what they're talking about. And maybe if you listen to earlier podcasts, when we're talking about things, I felt like I didn't have a lot to contribute. Whereas just coming into the office every day and just being around people that are working in our industry, you pick things up, and it's just more of a mindset of I'm not just thinking about diapers all the time.
Yeah.
Because the first year of your first baby, basically you're like, holy shit, the whole time, because it's a huge learning curve, right? And so since coming back in September, my role changed dramatically from when I left, which is because PHANTA Media's had more of a focus on internal content, digital content, and having a presence on social media. And so that's become my job. So it's been really exciting. For my personality, I've really enjoyed learning things. And also the longer I'm back, the more I learn, the more fun I have doing things like the podcast and the blogs and everything, and also the better, I think.
So I'm going to hijack your episode here now.
And
yeah, I'm going to totally hijack it, because as you were talking, I had so many good ideas about what this episode could be about.
Okay.
Okay.
I was going to ask you what your favorite holiday movie was.
Okay, well, we can get to that in a second.
Okay.
But you know what's funny? So a year ago now, we weren't doing a podcast. We launched it in April. I spent, I think, 3 months prepping for it. But people are always surprised when I say I host a podcast, mostly because they either think it's really, really hard, and it's not really that hard. It's a lot of work. Or they think it's super, super easy, and it's like, well, it's not that easy. So being thrown into it as the producer, walk me through, if someone's thinking about starting a podcast, walk me through some behind-the-scenes stuff of what does it entail? Like, not technically, I mean, if people have technical questions, they can ask us. But what does it entail to produce a podcast?
So I think the driving force behind the podcast would be having a really good idea of who you are and what you want to put out there. And so that all came from you. That didn't come from my producing, but that is part of the producing role. If you want to start a podcast, you're going to need to figure out what you have to say that's different than other people, and like what you have that people can take away from you. They're not going to listen to your podcast just to hear your voice. They want to have takeaways from every episode. They can learn this, or they can connect with this person, or they have information or questions that they didn't have before they listened. And so a huge part of it is knowing who you are and what you can provide, what your service is, I guess, as the podcast. So you did all that. But then each episode, it's booking guests that are relevant. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard. I think just as much as you said, it's hard for people to start a podcast. They think it's really intimidating, or it's a lot of work, or they're just like, I don't even know what goes into it. It's hard for people to say they'll be a guest, because a lot of times we ask people, I'd say 90% of our guests haven't been on a podcast before. And so they're like, oh, a podcast. Like, is it like a news station? Like, is it live? Like, they're intimidated by it. So you have to convince them that it's super easy and fun. And like, we want them to share information they already have. They don't have to do anything like extra for us. So convincing those guests, and then funneling the content into what we want. So we don't want someone to come on and talk about stuff that's irrelevant to whoever our audience is. We want them to give us the answers to the questions that we want.
Well, yeah, and that's really what it is focusing the conversations around stuff that we think would add value. And on that note, on this roller coaster ride that we call the special Christmas episode, we're going to hit you right now with the top 3 sound bites from the last years of podcasts. With the number 3 soundbite of the year, here we go. Throw it to the clip.
At the end of the day, sales is about caring about people, serving people, and being authentically who you are. And it wasn't really until I stepped into that authenticity. Like, I don't know if you have a photo of my book cover. When I saw that book cover, it killed me, because I realized I'm putting on this persona of who I think the people that I really want to get in front of in these corporations, who they want to see. And the reality is, when I decided to just step into who I am and have that kind of funkier side, and not care if people didn't like me right away when they saw me speaking because I was wearing red cowboy boots or whatever the case may be, that's okay. Because there are, as entrepreneurs, I think it's important that we know not everyone's going to like us, and there's only certain people we should be working with. And being that authentic person means you can serve people at a higher level. Because if I were to come in here right now wearing a suit, I would not be me.
Wasn't that awesome? Okay, here we go. Ready? Number 2.
there's always going to be people who don't like what you do. So you can't let those people stop you from potentially putting out something that could be really important or really change something.
And with the number one soundbite of 2015 from the Not So Corporate podcast, here we go. Throw the clip.
You know, if you look in your industry and there are 10 people making 10 times as much money as you are and you're not making that, then all your excuses are excuses. Go figure out what those people are doing and copy it or find another way around it. You know, until you have tried, you know, here's a very simple example. My guess would be if we were to ask most of your listeners how many marketing tactics they are using at any given time to generate leads, 80% of them will be 4 or less. There are easily 120 different tactics that people can be doing with multiple versions of each one. So if you say my business can't succeed because my 4 marketing tactics aren't working, I call bull. You're not trying everything you could be trying in order to succeed. As an entrepreneur, I agree. You have a higher level of personal responsibility because you're not just sitting waiting for a boss to give you work and you've taken this on. And this is why I love working with entrepreneurs. They are, by nature, more responsible individuals. But that doesn't mean they've hit the highest levels of personal responsibility, right? And when you hold yourself to that highest level of personal responsibility, you're going to wind up generating more results. And the reality is, most people, why do the best athletes in the world have coaches? It's because they need someone to push them that little bit extra.
Awesome.
Those were our top 3 moments.
Yeah.
And on this extravaganza as well, I want to talk about what we're going to do in 2016. So here's the thing. Like, I get bored. I don't get bored easily, I don't say, but you know, like I feel like we've done it. Like, we've done it. And so this year my goal was to start the podcast. It was to make it a regular weekly occurrence, which we've pretty much done in the fall, which is great. And I know we've been terrible over the December because I was traveling and Christmas is coming up. So we'll be back on it in January with weekly podcasts. But my goal for 2016 is to continue to have like the best guests that we can possibly book, continue to add value, and continue to work on maybe entertaining the audience a bit more. I think we have valuable stuff, but I would love it if we're doing stuff that people find fun and engaging and want to be a part of. And for that, I want to get the audience involved more.
Yeah.
So we talked about on the last podcast about having audience members come in and ask questions and be more involved. That's what I want to do. So I'm hoping that for you all who are listening, that you're going to take 2016 with us and you're going to be more involved in what we're doing, because for us, this is just a lot of fun. Like I know it's it's like 40% of your job is producing it, but for me, it's just a lot of fun, and that's why we do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would love it if more audience members were engaged and if they could shape the content more.
Yeah.
If there's
Wouldn't that be
something you
fun?
want to learn about and we don't know about it, we'll find someone that does and have them on and interview them. Or if you want to come on and talk to us about something, we would love that.
Yeah, because that's the greatest vehicle is really, this is an excuse also for us to be able to connect with people that we want to talk to and ask the questions we want to ask. And so if we can do that on people's behalf, then that would be great. Cool. So shifting gears to Christmas movies, because that's what you said you wanted to talk about.
Well, I was going to ask you, I was going to do a profile on
Let's
Mark
go.
Drager Holiday.
Okay, sorry. I'm going to throw the host duties back over to you. You just put the host hat back on. There's a physical top hat that she's literally just placed on her head.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's a big hat.
You can put your cane. She's got like a pimp cane. You can put it over in the corner.
It's a little bit rude. Okay. So I wanted to know, like, what is your holiday persona? What does Holiday Mark do? What do you do? You're always in the office. For people that don't know, Mark is in the office before me, and I get here before everyone else every day.
Yeah, I try to be in around 7 a.m.
And he is here when I leave.
Yeah, I try to be here till
if
till
you
quarter to
email
6
him,
or 6
and I
p.m.
don't know the answer to this question, but if you email him at 10 p.m., he gets back to you. And that's like as late as it gets for me. But I'm sure the other guys would say if you email him later.
Okay, so last night I got up to get a glass of water, and I checked my email at 2 a.m. because I was getting a glass of water, and I was up for 20 minutes responding to emails.
Yeah, like you're always working. So what is Holiday Mark like?
So Holiday Mark likes to I like to completely disengage from everything. Like everything. Like I love Christmas because it's the time where I have an excuse not to answer my emails and not to be on things and not to worry about things. So I really like to like just watch movies or spend time with my kids or play video. Like my big thing for Christmas is I get really into video games for about 6 days, which is not enough time to get into video games because I'm not really a gamer the rest of the year. So I go out and buy games that I hope to play and I start playing them. It's like, you know, when you read a book on vacation, you're on vacation, you're so into reading and you're like, this book is amazing. You get home and you never read it again.
No, never.
That's what I do every Christmas with video games.
What ones do you have lined up for this year?
So last year I'm a huge fan of Ratchet and Clank, which is which is like kind of I guess a kiddie game if you want, but I had it for the PS2 and then I got it for the PS3. I got the last in the series and I didn't realize it was a shortened game. It was only a 6-hour game. So I was missing some of them. So last year I bought used copies of so now I have every single Ratchet and Clank in the whole series, which is like 8 of them, maybe 8 or 9 of them.
Nice.
And so my plan was to start back at the beginning and play them again. And I got halfway through the first one and I haven't continued. So I might, and my kids like to watch and play along and stuff. So I might do that. Although this year it's a shortened Christmas break because Christmas is on a Friday, and then we're back to work the next week. So we're shooting a commercial the week after that's just come up, and then the week after that we have a huge social media campaign we're shooting, which has been in the works since June. So the first 2 weekends back in January, we have kind of really big productions we're working on. So I'm not actually certain how much time I'll take off.
So what else is your family? Does your family do a Christmas card picture?
No.
Do you guys wear like matching pajamas?
No.
Do you wear matching sweaters?
No.
Nothing hokey?
No.
Come on.
No.
Like you don't
why
do
would
anything
we
like
do that?
Do you have like a big family Christmas party with a million people?
Yeah. Well,
does
no.
everyone have a new car at it?
No, that's just Thanksgiving. Just Thanksgiving, people shows up with new cars. No, in my background's German. I don't know how much anyone cares about my personal background.
No.
My background's German.
Wait,
so
isn't that like Dwight? Don't you guys have the Santa with the brown?
No, that's Dutch. Are you talking about the little elf friend who?
Okay, I have Dutch friends, and they take their kids to see Sinterklaas.
Yes, and they have he has a little elf who sometimes dresses up in blackface, which is why it's very controversial. No, we're German, so we do Christmas Eve with my outer family. We celebrate Christmas Eve. We give presents on Christmas Eve. We light candles on the tree. There's real candles, not Christmas lights.
Dangerous.
And then Christmas morning was with my wife and her family and my mom and our kids. It's big for them. Good. I have 4 kids, so we tend to make Christmas about them. And then Boxing Days with my extended family, like my dad and my sister and other people. And then after that, it's just recovery.
Did you tell your kids about Santa Claus?
So
is that because we've been talking about it recently, and like I do not like the idea of Santa Claus. I don't like the tradition of Santa Claus. I know that seems like a Grinch thing, but I don't like it. I'm not into it. And I don't really want to tell our kids, like, Santa's coming and then he's going to give you stuff. And
yeah, but they're going to hear about it anyway. Your son is 15 months old.
I know,
so,
totally. But, I don't want to perpetuate the myth. If he hears about it, like, we'll give him gifts from Santa. That's fine. But I don't want to make it a big thing because I feel like it's weird to lie to your kids like that.
Well, it will be a big thing regardless.
Yeah. But, like, they don't give presents to every kid.
Who doesn't?
Santa.
Why not?
Because kids are poor. And then they can't have gifts. Kids are like homeless. They don't get gifts from Santa. If Santa was real.
Do you think your kids are going to ask you these social justice related questions at like the age of 3?
Honestly.
3, 4, 5? Do you think they're going to be like, why is it that people in need don't have gifts? I think they're just more like, they just freak out. They're like, Santa was here.
I was really young when I told my mom that it didn't really make
Spoiler
sense.
alert for any little ears here. Then
if you are young
this
and
is the
listening
point
to the
in the podcast where you should
off.
guard your child's ears.
Call your mom and dad over to the podcast machine.
Gosh, do you remember when they used to do that? It's like now's the time when you want an adult to help you with the scissoring or whatever. The scissors.
No, like those PBS commercials. They're like, go get your mom and dad and tell them to give
pledge.
money to pledge. You're like, oh, should I? I don't know.
Yeah. So, but to answer your question, I have really clearly defined careful responses. My wife has been terrible. She is so not good at telling stories or lies that she just gets deeper, and I give her these eyes where I'm just like, and my son who's 7 is very, very analytical, and so he'll be like, wait a minute, what? Why? And my wife's just like, and I'm like, honey, maybe you want to stop talking right now, because like over the years it's morphed into the point where she's like, now she's calling him on the telephone and
She calls Santa?
Oh, gosh, because she's just like I just have clear. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Oh,
We didn't have a
goodness.
fireplace at our last place. No problem. We left the back door unlocked. Right? Some people don't have fireplaces. My son would say. That's why in last year's video he says he goes through the window in some places, because it's like, we didn't have a fireplace. No problem. No problem. We left the back door open. Easy. But like, getting into the point where it's like, well, how does Santa get the list? It's like he writes the list, right? The only part that I've almost been caught on was when my kids get upset about ghosts or magic, and then I'm like, there's no such thing as magic or ghosts, and they're like, and my son will be like, but Santa Claus is magic, and I'll be like, well, yes.
You should say he's not magic, he's real. So.
But then how does he come down the chimney, and how does he go around the world in one night? How does he deliver all the toys? How does he make the toys? How does he live forever? How does he have reindeers fly?
See, these are things
These are all logical
I don't want to be
holes.
part of it.
These are all things you need to fix. But anyway, moving on. Next question.
Oh, next question. Okay,
Yeah.
so in terms of holiday traditions, do you have this always seems really weird to me, especially when I was younger, that people watch and listen to the same media every Christmas. Like it's like a tradition, right? Like it's not like every September you like. I guess I do know.
Every Halloween people watch what, Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, I guess.
Is that
Christmas
movie with Bette Midler or something where they're witches?
It's an amazing film. Yes. And like I think Thora Birch is the little girl in it. It's great.
Was Nicole Kidman in it or something, or is that
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Oh, Sarah Jessica.
Yeah, she's one of the witches.
Okay,
she's
there
like
you
the
go.
pretty young witch.
So people watch Hocus Pocus.
Totally, but Christmas music is an entity unto itself.
Yeah,
like
but there's summer music. Every spring I break out a little Sublime Santeria.
That's different. There are there's like certain songs. There's probably 10 that you hear over and over by all different artists every Christmas.
Yeah, that's how they make money.
Then movies, like I feel like at Christmas time, like I make it my business to watch like 10 or so.
Okay, cool.
Every single ones. Which ones do you watch at Christmas?
I don't do that.
You don't watch any Christmas movies?
No, I like Elf, but I've actually only seen it twice, so it doesn't really count as something where you're like watching a lot. Last year we watched with the kids Miracle on 34th Street, but the original black and white one, which was nice to watch with them. Yeah. I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
You've never seen it?
No. And what other Christmas movies are there? I don't even know.
I think I'm also the type of person that would watch something like 100 times. Like how many times have you seen Star Wars: A New Hope? 150 times.
No, I've probably only seen it like 10 or 15 times.
So,
which 10 or 15 is still a lot, but
it's a lot.
Yeah. But I like the originals. I don't like the 1997 upgrades, which is what I have on VHS.
Right. I know what you
I
mean.
went out and bought them on VHS because I was like, I'm going to need these 25-year collection editions forever. And then little did I realize DVD would come along. And now Blu-ray.
Yeah. And
And
then,
hey, do you watch Modern Family?
Yes.
Do you? I saw the first episode, the pilot, while I was in Jamaica last week. Yeah. And so I got Jamaican Netflix.
That's amazing.
Which is different than Canadian American. And they had Modern Family. I'd never seen it before, so I watched the pilot. It's a pretty funny show. Do people know that it's a funny show?
Oh, yeah. I feel like
Has it been a funny show for a
sitcom.
while?
Yeah, everyone watches it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
pretty funny. I like the dad, right?
Yeah, well, I only watched the pilot, and so the mom and dad were pretty funny, and I think I have friends who have it on on Blu-ray, so I'm going to get it, watch it.
It's pretty funny on it. Yeah.
Anyway, or should we wrap up?
The kids. Yeah, so I guess that's all my holiday questions.
Okay,
Wait, do you guys cook
wrap-up.
things that do you have things that you cook every holiday?
Yeah, my wife has a
turkey?
breakfast that she makes.
No, breakfast.
She's made it every Christmas since she was like 7.
Oh, like an egg thing?
Yeah, like an egg platter
too.
thing, and with cream cheese melted down with like cream and cream cheese melted in a pot with ham cut up, and then you put that over some eggs, and it's very good. It was like she got it in a kid's cookbook, and it became a tradition, and then now she makes it all the time. And my daughter, when she had her 9th birthday, she had a sleepover. She requested it to be made for her birthday breakfast. So
that's nice.
So it's pretty
All
fancy.
right, well, now we know the dragger tradition.
There you go.
And I feel like everyone knows you a little bit better, knows your
Excellent.
softer side, because you really...
The softer side, because the asshole side doesn't really work
No,
for me.
your business Mark is who comes in every day.
Yeah.
Business Mark brings it all the time, 247, 2 a.m., has to go to the bathroom, checking his emails. Holiday Mark, he's not so different, really. not such a different guy. Same
My wife
guy,
would
really.
tell you that the most relaxed Mark is like 3-drink Mark.
Oh yeah, a
That's-
3-drink anyone's the best.
Yeah, that's that. Like 4 or 5-drink Mark, not so fun.
Too much.
Yeah, not so fun. A little bit too talky.
There's
But-
that fine line.
But 3-drink Mark, laying in the sun on the beach, that is the Mark to have around.
That's good marriage advice. If you can't stand your spouse, give them 3 drinks.
Yeah, mellow him out.
Yep.
Mellow him out.
It's
For
fair.
sure.
I think my husband would say the exact same thing to me.
I have to
about
say
me.
though, so we had our little holiday party here at the office.
Mm-hmm.
We had karaoke. We had a little bit of drink. I didn't drink; I was driving. But we had great food.
Mm-hmm.
And for the karaoke, Leah, you brought it.
Ah.
We did our what shoop?
Oh yeah, for salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper shoop,
Yeah.
and you brought it.
Yep, I do know a lot of the words to that song.
So I have to say, for any of our listeners to the Not So Corporate podcast, if you are a small business owner, if you run your own studio, if you run your own web shop or video shop, or if you happen to work in corporate, and you didn't have karaoke at your Christmas party, you're missing out.
Yeah, you did it wrong.
It's fun.
It was
we
really
do it
fun.
like once a year, but every time we're reminded how much fun it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our message of 2015. So to close out the year, our message is go out and karaoke.
Yeah, karaoke yourself to success.
There you go.
All right,
and
so-
to play us off for the year, we're gonna end the podcast with a clip of Leah singing
You don't have any
karaoke.
clips of me singing karaoke.
Until next time, we'll see you next year, everyone.
It was my turn.
Oh,
to
right,
close.
you're hosting.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, well, that wraps up our podcast for today. Thanks, Mark, for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope you learned a little something about podcasting, about our podcast, and about Mark Draker himself on holiday.
There you go.
Thank
The
you very
man,
much.
the myth, the legend.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the new year.
See you next time.
Here I go.
Here I go again.
Girls, what's my weakness? Man, okay, I was chilling, illin', I'm minding my business. So I look around and I couldn't believe it. I swear. My niece, my witness. A brother had it going like some kind of, wicked, hick it. I had to kick it. I'm not shy, so I asked for his digits.
Perfect. Merry Christmas, everyone.